Well, again, thank you all so much for being here. If you need it, we do have Spanish language interpretation, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. We're so glad you all are here. Thanks for taking your time. My name is Alex Shore. I'm with Catalyze SV. I'll introduce my role a little bit more in a little bit. But meantime, we're just so grateful you all are here. We're going to have some great conversations later on in the workshop. We've got some slides to get through before that. So let's go right to them. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we're going to get into a lot of good content. Hopefully everyone can see that Branham Light Rail Community Visioning Workshop slide. Hopefully all of you, maybe show of hands, how many people are familiar with the Branham Light Rail station? Nice, great. And if we want to launch that poll now, we just want to get a sense of who's in the room a little bit. So we wanted to ask some questions of folks. If you wouldn't mind, if you're feeling comfortable answering that question, you'll see it's both in English and in Spanish. Feel free to answer in whichever, well, I guess you can answer in both languages at once. Learn a little English or Spanish. So we'll just give that poll maybe another 20 seconds. And this just helps us get a sense of who's here and their role in the community. So we really appreciate that. Still, people coming in, welcome to our new entrants. Thank you. And we will have a chance to introduce some of our team members in the room. Okay, let's close out that poll right now. So we're going to end that poll, and we've got some results. Hopefully everyone scrolled down and saw all the questions that we were asking. Here's some of our results. You're welcome to scroll down. I'm going to stop sharing that now, if that's okay, but appreciate you all doing that. That's helpful for VTA to figure out how you found out about tonight and what brought you here. So again, for those who need it, we do have interpretation available. Anna and Tina will be interpreting in Spanish for us tonight. There are some instructions. And so they are interpreting right now the words that we're saying. So feel free if anyone needs them. Hay instrucciones aquí en español si usted necesita. Okay, great. Well, hopefully everyone got that. We're going to do some conversation in our Zoom chat function tonight as well. So if that's new to you, I know a lot of us have been on Zoom a lot the last year. So we would love to have some conversations in Zoom as we're going through the presentation tonight. Feel free to jump in there, write in chat, ask questions if you need to. We'll be giving some answers to common questions in a little bit. And in the meantime, start throwing those questions in. We've got VTA staff like Kathleen and Jolene and Jessica who can help answer some of your questions as part of our team. We'll say hi to them in a second. We'll also be going to breakout rooms a little bit later. So once we do, you'll just click that button and we'll have a pop-up request coming from Jolene in about 30 to 45 minutes, inviting you to join one of our breakout rooms where we'll have some good discussions. And a couple other things about Zoom and tonight's meeting. You're of course welcome if you're eating dinner to turn off the camera, but we also love to see you. So if you want to have your camera on, and until we get to the breakout rooms, if you wouldn't mind keeping your mute button on, that would be great, because we're gonna get through some of this stuff and we don't want to hear your private side conversations if you're talking with someone else in the room back at home. Again, questions are welcome in the chat function of Zoom. We will be actively monitoring and responding to those throughout the evening. We are also recording tonight. So if you are on camera, you are being recorded. That's so that we can allow more community members to be part of this conversation and process. which we'll be posting to vta.org in the days ahead. And we will have facilitators in our small breakout rooms. We will also have note takers, and we'll be taking down your comments so that we can share those back with you and with VTA as we go through tonight. Just wanted to introduce myself a little bit. Who is this guy? Why is he here? I'm the executive director of Catalyze SV. Again, my name is Alex Shore. We're a community group here in Silicon Valley that cares about community engagement a lot. And how do we create as inclusive and collaborative a community engagement process as possible? VTA brought us in tonight to be part of this conversation and help lead it. And they also have brought in the urban planning and design firm Dahlin Group, who you're going to be hearing from in a little bit, talking about some of their design ideas for this site and having you respond to those and share some of your ideas in turn. So my role as a facilitator, it's a combination of these three individual roles. First of all, we want to be super warm and welcoming and inviting and make everyone feel like this conversation is for them. And if things get off track a little bit in time or focus, well, then the general steps in and keeps things moving. And finally, we want this to be a conversation which all voices have an equal shot to participate. So we'll be a fair referee as well in the conversations. And these are what our small group facilitators will be keeping in mind as well. So when you're talking with them, they are our volunteers. So if you'll keep in mind, they have a role, which is to keep the conversation moving so we can hear as many good ideas from you as possible. And as we're thinking about tonight's meeting and how we'll all be interacting with each other, we just ask you to respond to and respect the basic rules of, being kind to each other. We do want to hear input from everyone, and we do want everyone to feel like they have an opportunity to participate and that no single individual is dominating the discussions. To be respectful of your time, we are going to stay on track with our agenda and on time. So if there may be some topics you want to talk about that may not be as relevant to tonight's focus. So if you want to talk about developments in other parts of San Jose or Santa Clara, if there are issues in your neighborhood that aren't related to this site at the Branham Light Rail Station or other topics related to VTA's work, we're going to ask you to sidebar those, have those another time. VTA staff is very accessible and will be sharing their contact information tonight to help you talk with them more if there's anything on your mind that you want to bring up but isn't related to tonight's conversation. And if anyone, we don't expect this at all, but if anyone gets a little rowdy, we may have to remove anyone for any behavior like that. But we know it's going to be an amazing conversation. We just got to say it just in case. So want to give a big welcome to all of our neighbors who live near this site, to those, whether they're neighbors or live in another part of Silicon Valley, who are riding transit through the Branham Light Rail Station. We also want to invite City of San Jose staff, if they have a chance right now, to just give a wave. If there's San Jose staff who work in any of the departments, like planning or housing or transportation, if you want to wave real quick. Okay, we also have some County of Santa Clara staff as well. Andrew, Diana, Consuelo, do you want to come on camera real quick? Just wave, say your name, your department, and your title.
Thank you, Alex. Good evening, everybody. Consuelo Hernandez, Director with the Office of Supportive Housing. Very excited to see you all tonight. Thank you for participating. I know it's dinner time, and I apologize for my mask wearing. I am in the office and required to wear a mask, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you, Alex.
Thanks. How about Andrew?
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Great to be here. Andrew Barnes, Office of Supportive Housing. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Diana Castillo, Senior Management Analyst at the Office of Supportive Housing, County of Santa Clara. My colleagues working with Consuelo and Andrew. Good evening.
Thanks. Anyone else from the county want to say hello? Okay. Well, we do have some elected officials, certainly in San Jose City Council, that want to say hello and introduce themselves a little bit. I believe we have Councilmember Mahan here. Councilmember Mahan, would you like to say hello?
Hi, Alex. Yeah, I'll be very brief. Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's great to see so many familiar faces and such a strong turnout. Thanks to Alex and the team at Catalyze. I appreciate the work you guys do to facilitate community participation and appreciate VTA bringing you all on to do that. And all of our other guests here tonight. You know, I want to just say quickly to the neighbors who turned out, this is a great turnout. I always tell people D10 has the most engaged community. And I think this proves that. I know we have some friends from just across the way in D9 as well. So we can both claim credit for that. But excellent turnout. You know, just over a year ago, I came through the neighborhood in Carson and also, you know, Vista Park, Parkview, the whole area there, and spoke with many of you. And I heard a lot about housing affordability, homelessness. And I think, you know, this project has the potential to really be part of the solution to those challenges. I also frankly heard a lot about traffic and parking and other concerns. And so to me, what's important is what we're doing tonight, which is engaging, listening, and learning from all of you. It's really, really important that you use this time to raise your questions, your concerns, and what would make you excited about this project if it were to move forward. So I'll be listening very carefully. I will have to turn my video off for a bit here, but I will be listening. I also have staff on the call taking notes. And of course, if you want to follow up with my office for any reason after this, you can always reach us at District 10 at sanjoseca.gov. So thanks again to everybody. I'll be quiet now, but really appreciate the great turnout and facilitation. Thank you.
Thanks, D10. Do we have anyone from District 9? San Jose City Council District 9, anyone here?
Hey everybody, Michael Lomeo here from the Office of Council. Can you hear me out?
Yep.
Great. Hey everybody, Michael Lomeo here from the Office of Councilmember Pam Foley. I just wanted to say hello to everybody and kind of echo Councilmember Matthew Mahan's words that this is an awesome group of people that are attending. I see about 85 participants. From our District 9 side, I would like to highlight there's some really wonderful neighborhoods on the other side of Highway 87, which is District 9. You know, we have Pinehurst, Tanglewood, Thousand Oaks. In fact, Dave Noel, the president of the Erickson Neighborhood Association, is here, and Tatra as well. And I recognize a lot of names from individuals that live over in those neighborhoods. So I know there's a lot of interest in our district as well. And I know this is a really important development coming up. And so we've heard too the concerns around traffic and height and density, but at the same time, we've also heard concerns about, you know, not having enough housing and homelessness in the area as well. So we're happy to be a part of that conversation. And if you ever need anything, I can put my email in the chat and you're very welcome to contact me. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Glad D9 could be here. Anyone else from the city of San Jose who wants to say hello? Okay, assuming not. Anyone else in any other elected officials' offices locally who want to say hello? Anyone else? Okay, great. Well, thank you, folks, for being here. Again, we're really excited you all are here. Let's keep moving through. You've already heard from some members of our team, the Office of Supportive Housing at the county. You saw Consuelo and Andrew and Diana. We also have VTA staff here from 3 different departments: development/real estate, planning, and public engagement. Will you all jump on camera if you're not on here? I think you already are, but will you wave and say hello and let folks know you're here?
Good evening, this is Jessie O'Malley Solis. I'm VTA's TOD Program Manager. Nice to see you all and welcome. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, Jessie. Anyone else want to say hey?
Hi, I'm Jessica Hitchcock, and I work with Jesse in the TOD department, and I'm excited to see everyone here and look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Hi, I'm Jolene Bradford, and I'm with the Community Engagement and Public Outreach. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kathleen Podrosky with VTA's Community Outreach.
Great. And Aiko, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. Aiko Kwenke here with VTA Planning. Excited to see all of you. Great turnout.
Thanks, Aiko. Anyone else on the VTA team? Okay, great. Well, you already know me. I'm tonight's facilitator. We're also joined by our design firm, Dahlin Group. Lori and Rituraj, would you like to say hello?
Sure. Thank you, Alex. Lori Moffett-Felberg, Senior Principal with Dahlin Group Architecture Planning. Looking forward to talking with everyone tonight.
Rituraj, Senior Planner with Dahlin Group, and looking forward for the conversation.
Thanks, y'all. Well, before we go further, we want to talk a little bit about the history of this land. VTA acknowledges we're talking about a project tonight that is on the ancestral lands of the Ohlone, specifically the Tamian and Muwekma Ohlone tribes. We acknowledge them not just as the first peoples of this land on which this community lives and works, yet that they remain thriving members of Bay Area communities today. They lived on this land long before Spanish missionaries and then American settlers largely displaced them. So while we do acknowledge VTA's use, occupation, and ownership of this land, we recognize it came to be as a result of factors such as dislocation, disease, and discrimination. As this project goes forward, it's possible that historical and cultural resources will be discovered when VTA begins development projects like this, in which case VTA will make efforts to preserve those remains and ensure they are returned to the community most connected to them. Thank you all. We're all learning about how to do these land acknowledgements, and so we appreciate your patience, understanding, and grace as we go through this process of learning. Well, what are we going to do today? Well, we've already gotten through a couple things, so we're moving forward with our agenda. We've done our welcome and agreements. We talked in a moment, we're going to get into our goals and what brings us here today. We'll talk about VTA's role a little bit, the site itself. Then we'll spend the best chunk of our time together in breakout rooms talking about your thoughts and ideas for this development. And finally, next steps in the process, how you can stay engaged and how VTA's process is going forward. So tonight we have three main goals. One is for all of us to get a better understanding of the site and its possibilities at the Branham Light Rail Station. Again, brainstorm your ideas about the development. We really want to hear those from you. And so we're going to have our facilitators trying to tease those out of you. And finally, we're going to take all that input that we received through tonight's meeting, and we're going to use it to give guidelines to developers who might build on this site. So the term you sometimes hear in the field is called a request for a proposal. So all the information that VTA gathers tonight will be used to inform the basically offering or guidelines that they issue to the developer saying, hey, who wants to build a project according to these specifications? And some of those specifications, again, will be informed by what you say tonight. So that's why we're here and why your input is so important. We're going to go a little bit more deeper into the site in a moment, but we just want to reiterate and emphasize we're here to talk about the 3 acres at the Branham Light Rail Station. The light rail station is here on the left. This is Highway 87, the Guadalupe Freeway, that I'm putting my mouse clicker over. Branham Lane on the south side of the site, and then Narvaez is here. San Jose's general plan suggests that this could be developed as an area for townhomes and small retail, as an example. And part of the reason we're developing it is that even before the pandemic, this parking lot was 80% empty on weekdays, which are the times most likely that people would be using it to take transit at the Branham Light Rail Station. So there's definitely an opportunity for greater development, greater use, greater benefit for the community of this site. So before we go more into the site and talk about that, we just want to introduce VTA's role a little bit. Why is VTA involved in land use development? Some of you may be asking what makes it interested in building housing. Well, we want VTA to be able to introduce that a little bit. So I'm going to turn it over to Jolene Bradford. She's going to talk real quickly about VTA's role in general and on this site. Jolene, you are
I'm
up.
muted. Yeah. Hi, guys. I am so glad that you guys were all able to make it tonight. When people think of VTA, they might think buses and light rail, but VTA actually does more than that. VTA is an independent special district, which is governed by a board of directors. The board is made up of 12 local city or county elected office holders. This wheel shows all the ways VTA is touching every part of transportation in Santa Clara County. So the first I want to point out is in the inside of the wheel, you see construction. We construct transit facilities like the new Milpitas BART and Berryessa BART stations. We're also responsible for local highway improvements like the 101 Blossom Hill interchange, which will help traffic flow more smoothly. Then you can see there's planning and funding. And VTA is the congestion management agency for Santa Clara County. And as such, we're involved in infrastructure construction like BART Silicon Valley Extension and express lanes like the ones on 237. We fund Caltrain along with San Mateo and San Francisco counties. We also make bicycle and pedestrian safety improvements throughout the county. And we encourage the integration of transportation and land use planning. So we design a community that works for everyone. So the next one is transit. Next slide, please. So VTA's core transit service are the bus, light rail, and our ADA paratransit service. But we also have our transit-oriented development program, which focuses on land use, and that's why we're here today. Next slide, please. Thank you. This program has 25 sites, as you can see, throughout Santa Clara County, many of which are underutilized parking lots. The goal of the transit-oriented development program, or the goals are, to create vibrant community assets that include affordable housing, to maximize economic value and create long-term stable revenue, and to enhance VTA's transit operations through improvements in ridership and infrastructure. But there are some really good benefits that come along with transit-oriented development. And a few of those are, it helps meet the housing market demand. It supports healthy styles by building walkable communities, and it strengthens our transit systems. So VTA's transit-oriented development program deliberately invests in helping more people live, work, and shop in neighborhoods which are served by public transit. I'd now like to turn the time over to Jessie O'Malley Solis, VTA's Transit-Oriented Development Program Manager.
Thank you, Jolene. Wanted to talk quickly about equity and inclusion. The people of San Jose, along with VTA, want to see that our neighbors and customers are mobile, heard, and thriving. Building homes that families can afford near transit allows them to focus on earning a livable wage and spend more time on the things that matter. Historically, residents of color in Santa Clara County have been excluded from equitable housing opportunities. Discriminatory housing practices have led to disparities across race and ethnicity. For example, throughout the county, 44% of the homeless population identify as Latinx, while only 27% of the county's general population identifies as Latinx. At VTA, we're working to address disparity of experience based on race and income. VTA's TOD program provides affordable housing and jobs near transit, which can help address these housing barriers and racial segregation in our communities. We ask that you join VTA in our efforts to create a community where all people are housed, mobile, and heard. Next slide, please. One of the ways that VTA works towards inclusive communities is our affordable housing framework that our board approved in 2016. The policy goal is that up to 35% of VTA's housing portfolio will be built out as affordable housing. This station will be a collective partnership between the community, the County Office of Supportive Housing, VTA, and an affordable housing development partner. VTA and the county partnership pairs land and funding for affordable housing production at this site. Next slide, and back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Jesse. So if we are going to be doing affordable housing on this site, and that's again part of the discussion we're going to have a little bit, who might be the kind of folks who might live at Branham Light Rail Station? Well, it could be a retail store clerk in a one-person household. It could be a teacher with kids. It could be a multi-generational household like the one on the right. It sort of depends on income level and household. And so these are the kind of people, well, what are the kinds of incomes that they may have and the costs? Well, here's what we're thinking in terms of one initial idea that VTA wants to talk with you tonight, which is that the housing could be either affordable for sale or it could be affordable for rentals. And so this slide talks a little bit about the income levels that might be involved if you're both a renter or if you're a homeowner, what that price for sale would be. I'll just leave it there for a moment in case anyone is taking a look, capturing a photo with your screen or your camera on your phone. That'll give you a little bit of a sense in case you're referencing back to that information. So now we're going to do a brief video for those who haven't been out in the community or on this site in a while, or just want to get a little bit better situated. Normally we'd do this in person. We'd walk in small groups together and we talk about the site. But because of the pandemic, we thought we would try to do the next best thing, which is show some videos. So here's some videos we took of the site. Hopefully those will help you get a sense of it. Here we go.
Here we are at the Branham Light Rail parking station. You can see 87 there on your left, the light rail station there. And here is the site we're talking about today.
That nasally guy is me with a mask on. Next video.
Here we are at the corner of Narvaez and Branham. And we're coming down Narvaez here, you're seeing, and panning over to the VTA site here at the Branham Light Rail Station.
And these videos were taken on a weekday, so you can see what that parking lot looks like. Here's the last video.
Here we are at another corner of the site. There's Narvaez here. And this is the parking lot that VTA owns here off Branham. The other corner of the site right here.
Great. So that's a little bit of a site overview, but we want to start digging a little deeper on the site. And the best people to do that with you are the folks at Dahlin Group. We've got Lori here who's going to talk through the site a little bit more and help us begin to envision the site a little bit more. What might be its future and how could VTA help contribute to that as part of a potential development? So Lori, you want to take it away?
Great, thank you, Alex. I'm seeing a lot of information pop up in the chat as Alex was going through the slides. And one of the things that I saw was the relationship between the Branham site and the Capitol site. And you can see just how close together they are. This is probably contributing to the lack of parking, people parking there and riding from the Branham site, because if you look along Guadalupe, you can see the properties almost touch. And Alex, if you could be my pointer with the mouse as I speak to different things, that would be great. It's one of the things we can't be in a meeting together and I can't use my laser pointer to show everybody. So Alex is going to be my laser pointer tonight. But you can see the Branham station at the bottom, Guadalupe linking the two, and then the Capitol Park and Ride. They're incredibly close together. And so we think that that's probably contributing to the lack of folks parking at the Branham site, why it's such an empty parking lot. Next slide, please. So as Alex mentioned earlier, this has a general plan designation of mixed use neighborhood. And so that is the underlying land use that has been established in the general plan for this site. Next slide, please. And this is a little bit more on the context. So if we start at the top, if you live in this neighborhood, you know that the bike trail connection is up at the real skinny, pointy part. There's a couple site photos there. It's rather underwhelming, that connection to Narvaez. As you move south just a little bit, there's a substation and a communication tower. Those are both infrastructure elements for the VTA operations. And then you get to the main component of the parking lot. They're the bulk of the site. At the corner of Narvaez and Branham are a few bike lockers, kind of lonely bike lockers out there on the corner. Then along Branham, you get to that set of stairs that is currently the access from the parking up to Branham, across the overpass, and then back down to the station. And then there's the Branham station itself. Next slide, please. So I want to talk about the bikes for a minute. I'm an avid cyclist, so I always kind of drill down into what are the bike facilities in a community. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, at the top of the slide, you see that bike trail connection. And it is kind of a sad, lonely point of connection onto Narvaez. Narvaez and Branham do have striped bike lanes with the green paint that is really starting to make cycling much safer for folks. So cities are going in with the green boxes, the green lanes, really to highlight the bicycle connectivity there. But the bike lane along Narvaez also connects to the Capitol station. So again, adding to the connectivity. Next slide, please. But as I noted a moment ago, that northern part of the site is the VTA infrastructure. That is going to remain. And so the portion of the site that we're speaking to this evening is that 2.5 acre parcel in yellow. Next slide, please. So when we talk about a visioning exercise, what's a visioning exercise? This isn't a go, no go exercise. This is an exercise that speaks to how does this interface with the surrounding community. And so we've prepared a number of topics that we wanted to cover tonight. I'm going to go through them, but you're going to be seeing these slides again, and that'll give you a chance to have further discussion. We will have someone from our company in each of the breakout sessions. So if there's specific questions that come up when you see the slides again. Next slide, please. So one of the things that strikes you, initially about this site is there's no sidewalk along the street frontage on Narvaez for this site currently. It's across the street on the neighborhood side. And so one of the public improvements that we're looking at is adding a public sidewalk. Seems pretty basic, but there's different ways we can do that. So we provided imagery on the center and on the right of 3 different types of public sidewalks. The one at the top in the middle is a little, I'll call it a little bit more suburban, a little broader parkway strip, more broader trees. The one directly below that is a little bit more urban, little bit smaller landscape strip, maybe a little bit more ornamental trees. And the one on the right is a little bit more urban. It's a little bit more paved, a little broader, and has trees and tree grates that creates a different sense of urban design. So we'll talk more about that in the breakout groups and get people's feedback on, is there a visual preference to the type of interface with the street? Next slide, please. So I mentioned this sad little interface at the northern end of the site, and I see in the comments that there's a couple comments that the separated trail does not go all the way to the Capitol. That's exactly correct. It pops out right here at the pointy part of the site, and you have to get onto the street into the bike lanes, and it has to do with a pinch point and then getting into Capitol. But there's a little bit of land here. And so is dressing this up so there's a sense of there's a sense of connectivity to the neighborhood, like many of the regional trails have, is that something that appeals to the community? And if so, what does that mean? So we've included a number of images from different slides, Guadalupe Trail, Iron Horse Trail, with some ways of providing a little bit more sense of welcoming, sense of community, sense of engagement of this, public amenity to the public street, rather than just kind of, I guess it's some bark chips or dirt and where the paving comes out. So we can talk more about, is there one of these that really appeals to people over the other? Next slide, please. Very similarly, as a new community interface with the existing community, what should that look like? Should it have some sense of green entry point? Should it be like the center one on the bottom? Should it simply be sidewalks connecting out to provide integration and porosity to the site and connectivity to the neighborhood? Should it be like the slide in the bottom right-hand side, where it's a little bit more of a green infrastructure? There's a little sense of space and a little bit more of a parklet setting to it, if you will, where there's a little bit more landscaped area, a little broader, maybe a bench. Or should it be a little bit more urban, like the upper right-hand corner, a little bit more sense of monumentation and infrastructure? The one in the center in the middle is kind of a hybrid of the two bottom ones. Not quite as much green, but still a sense of connectivity with the sidewalks, and a little bit softer, a little bit greener. So we'll talk about those again later. Next slide. And then there's really the edge conditions in the interface. And one of the things this site has an opportunity to do is reach into the community and provide something beyond the sad little bike boxes at the corner. So I'm going to start in the lower right-hand corner and go clockwise around. Those are actually bike lockers at a BART station. And so it's the same concept where people can lock up their bike securely, but there's more of a sense of there. It gives a little bit more of a sense of design integration to an urban design philosophy of enhancing the neighborhood. Just to the left of that, in the center, is a fun idea with crosswalks. It's just paint, but it can really accent the fact that there's something interesting happening here. There's connectivity here. Maybe this isn't so much to the project as it is some type of enhancement of the crosswalk along Branham at Narvez. Maybe there's something like that makes people pay attention and has a heads up to that intersection and the pedestrians walking there. The one just to the left is an example of what we call wayfinding or interpretive or something like that. Is there an interest in celebrating the history of the site, celebrating something else for the community that is, again, urban design, wayfinding, creating a sense of place to this location? The one on the lower left-hand corner is just the idea, it's not the uses in the background we're talking about, it's just the idea of a small plaza. Is there an interest in some kind of a small plaza at that intersection of Branham and Narvez? Is that something that would give back to the community? Just above that is some fun public art. I'm a huge fan of public art as infrastructure. We have the overpass that links directly from the station into the neighborhoods, but it's just kind of a just plain overpass. Would something like some kind of a public art effort that really dresses up that overpass and provides that main pedestrian path to the station, would that enhance people's experience of coming to the station to ride? So we can talk about that. In the center, again, this is the type of thing that creates place within a neighborhood. Should there be some decorative elements such as banners on streetlights, things like that, that could announce special things in the community or some other district-wide or neighborhood-wide event, something that celebrates the area. And then the upper right hand, again, as a cyclist and with the bike facilities right here, again, back to infrastructure as art, is there a need to create a little bit more sense of place, a little bit more encouragement of the cycling community through bike racks that are available for people to secure to? Next slide, please. And then last but not least, the development itself, the scale and type of architecture. We've been talking a little bit about all the edge conditions and kind of the accoutrements and the placemaking. But what we want to hear from you in the small group breakout sessions is there an architectural vernacular or character that the community really prefers? And so what we're showing you is what's allowed in the general plan. The general plan allows up to 3.5 stories, and that would allow something in kind of a row townhouse format where you have a multi-story home, or it would allow what's called a stack flat, which is living on one level, but maybe 3 levels of that. And so we wanted to provide architectural examples that illustrate a bunch of different architectural styles, but in the mass and scale that is appropriate for the site. So with that, again, I'm not just presenting tonight. These will show up in the breakout sessions again, and we'll be able to take questions. We have note takers who are going to write down people's perspectives. And if we were in person, we might give you dots to vote for things, but you'll be seeing this again. So I'm going to turn it back to Alex. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lori. Couple slides to go before we get into the breakout rooms. We've got a few minutes here for responses to some of the things we're seeing in the Zoom chat function. So Jessica and Jesse on the VTA real estate team are 2 folks who are going to respond to some of these questions we're seeing in the Zoom chat function now before we head to the breakout rooms. Again, we'll get to those in about 5 minutes, and we'll have a lot of time to chat with you all then.
So Alex, this is Jessica. What I'm going to do is, as Alex mentioned in the chat, we've been getting a lot of comments here, and people are asking a lot of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the most frequently asked questions, and I'm going to direct them to staff here that can answer them. So the first question came from Frank, and it's been echoed by a few people. What is the difference between this project and the one back in 2017? Is this a done deal or is this still open? I'm going to direct this question to Jesse O'Malley-Solis from VTA's TOD department.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to point out a few key differences between the 2017 effort and the effort that's before you now. In 2017, VTA put in 2 to 3 general plan amendments citywide. One was here at Branham Station, one was at Cottle, and I think the other was at Blossom Hill. And at that time at Branham Station, we were looking to increase density of the current general plan designation. Lori detailed out what the current general plan designation is. It's mixed use neighborhood, which allows up to 35 units per acre. So we are not changing the general plan designation. We're moving forward with a project that is within the city's existing approved planning context. We are looking at doing townhomes at the location, and in a relative fit test, we're seeing that we might fit up to just under 50 units. Jessica, I feel like there was a secondary piece of that question was, is this a done deal or not? I'll respond to that by saying it's definitely VTA's mission with our TOD program to build out units and employment opportunities in our TOD sites. One of the benefits to doing that is reinvestment in the infrastructure that exists today. Also, we get to build ridership. People who live within that real close proximity to a station are more apt to ride our stations at a much higher frequency than people who live further away. So TOD is a focus of our agency for a couple different reasons, but ridership is the primary reason. Is it a done deal? We are definitely pursuing development at this site. We have a partnership with the Office of Supportive Housing, where this site, amongst 3 others, 2 more in the city of San Jose and 1 in Gilroy, has been identified as a location for a joint partnership where VTA will offer land and the Office of Supportive Housing through the 2016 Measure A platform will be bringing affordable housing funding.
Thank you, Jesse, for answering that question, or those series of questions. I'm also seeing a lot of questions about why are we developing here? Patricia just mentioned, are you even considering capital? Paul noted earlier, capital would be a more ideal mixed use site. Marcia, I think, asked early on, I think this is the most succinct question, why this site rather than capital, which is a larger site and has more parking?
So earlier in tonight's presentation, Jolene was sharing a map that had 26 sites that have been identified by the VTA board as priority locations for TOD. Branham is one of them. Capital is also one. VTA is also in partnership with the County Office of Supportive Housing at the Capital location. There will be some future community meetings coming up at that site. We are going to be doing an affordable housing project at that site as well, and visioning for that full 10-acre site. We think that'll build out over time and not all at once. And so we are looking both at the Branham station and Capital amongst our 25 sites that are approved by our VTA board. One of the things that's important to note, both at Capital and Branham, prior to COVID, both of these sites were extremely underutilized when it comes to parking. And if you look at our system-wide, if you look at the 7,500 parking spaces that we own in the county, roughly 45% of those are utilized pre-COVID. At Branham, it's even less. At Branham, we have 271 stalls, and pre-COVID in 2019, in the busiest month, utilization was only 54 stalls. And so one of the things that we look at when we're bringing TOD to our sites is that we're also looking at access priorities. VTA has an access policy that was approved by our board in 2019. We really try to focus on bringing bike and ped to our stations first, ride share, car share second, and with the last priority of cars. Now you'll know that at sites like Tamian and certain sites, we are looking at retaining parking. My guess is also at Capital, when we do our final project there will be some retaining of land for parking for transit, because we want to maintain the usage that we see in the pre-COVID scenario.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm going to hand it back to Alex so we can go into the breakout rooms. There is just a note, if you would prefer to be in a room that's facilitated in Spanish in the breakout room, please let us know in the chat and we can try to accommodate that. Yep, chat, please. Okay, I'm going to hand it back to Alex.
Yeah, thanks for that message, Jessica. And you're probably wondering, why are they saying that in English? Well, remember, it's being translated. So someone will hopefully let us know in the chat function if they want tonight's small group in Spanish. So we have a lot of conversations about development. Part of tonight's is about what you want from development in your community. And so we're going to try to keep the focus on that. Again, if there are things that you're frustrated about, if you're wondering about how VTA operates its transit, We'll have an opportunity to address those after tonight, but we really want to hear your ideas for what you want from development in your community. And so we'll be focusing on that in the discussion. Each discussion group will have a staff person from VTA and a planner designer from Dahlin Group. Those folks are there to help the chat and the conversation go along, but it's not going to be a Q&A between sort of VTA staff and an individual or two. We really want to have a conversation between each other. So a couple little instructions on how this is going to go. We're going to move into the breakout rooms. I'm seeing that it's 6:58 right now. So we are going to be at 40 to 45 minutes. At 7:40, 7:45, we're going to come out of those breakout rooms. Jolene's going to bring us back into the main group. And we're going to get 2 key takeaways that our facilitators are going to give. These are Catalyze SV volunteers who are helping facilitate today's conversation, sharing the presentation slides that Lori showed with the nice images. So please understand, these are just community members just like you and me who are here to help foster a conversation and are volunteering their time to talk with you all tonight. And again, the conversation, the notes that we hear, VTA staff will be typing as furiously as they can to capture everything you're saying. And then we'll be sharing that back with VTA and with those of you who registered here tonight. So if you didn't register, make sure you do so we can get this information back in your hands. And here are the topics we'll be talking about in our discussion groups. Our facilitators will just get a sense of each of you in the room. We'll talk a little bit about the housing, the ideas that VTA explored, your ideas for housing. Then we'll talk about some of the amenities and community benefits that you think, like Lori showed, might be able to be brought into this neighborhood as part of the project. And then just summarize some key thoughts from each of you about what you would really like from this development in your neighborhood. So let's go ahead and jump to our breakout rooms. I'm going to pop into a couple of them if I can and just check in with folks. If you get kicked out of the main room, Jolene is going to help match you back into your group. Thank you to our facilitators. And feel free to use the Zoom chat function as well in your breakout rooms. But now's the time to really start talking with each other. So thanks for your patience as we got through all this. Can't wait to hear your ideas. Jolene, start matching.
Yes, Alex, really quickly. I just want everybody to know that we're not having a Spanish breakout room. So you guys will go into your groups just so the facilitators are aware. And then if facilitators, if you can remember to push the record button so that we can record the breakout rooms. Thank you.
Great reminder, Jolene. Thanks. Okay, Jolene's going to start sending you into your breakout rooms. When that screen pops up and says join, please jump into your room.
This isn't working, G. The mouse isn't working. Darn it.
Jolene, are we able to help somebody? Are we able to move them to a room if they're having
Yes,
a problem
I
moving in?
can try to do that. Let me see.
We'll get you in there.
Carlin will be moving you into a room.
I am not able to do that for him.
Shoot.
Hey, Alex, this is Ceci Conley from the leadership group. Is it okay just to jump in one of these groups that's neighbors? If I don't live in the neighborhood, but kind of here for the supporting the mixed
Oh, you
use.
should have been assigned. Were you not assigned?
No, I got a group. I just want to make sure it's appropriate to just.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Your
Cool,
voice
thanks.
matters as much as anyone else's.
And I'm not
Thanks.
sure how to move him to the.
Is it Carlin that we're
Yes,
having?
and he's our facilitator.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Alex, do you know how to do that?
I'm looking into it right now.
I lost the breakout room screen. I'm on a phone and not used to Zoom on a phone, but
Oh, that's why you can't record. That's why I wasn't able to get him to record either.
What room is he supposed to go in?
Room 2? No, room 4, group 4. He's supposed to be in group 4.
Can I make it record?
I can make you, yeah. You're in that
I
same
have
room.
I have
So
a
let me do
record
that
button there, but I'm not sure where I am. I have a record button on my phone,
Mm,
I'm having a
but that
hard
may
time
be
going.
yours.
I'm supposed to go in room 4, but I feel like I should wait a minute.
I cannot, I can't let you, it's not giving me the option for you to assign you that too.
Okay.
I can only put people in the waiting room.
Correct.
That's what I
So
can,
we,
that's all I can
we
do.
have a problem. We don't have a facilitator in that room.
In group 6.
Alex, isn't Carlin the facilitator?
For group 6, I see Steve Pimentel in group 6.
Group 4.
Group 4.
We do not have a facilitator in group 4.
Yeah, okay. Do you want me to
Do
jump
I
in
just start moving everybody to different groups?
there? I can move into jump. Group.
Alex, just, yeah, I'll let Alex facilitate
Perfect. Thank you.
that. Maybe, do you want me to be the one that checks on the rooms?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Should I go to group 4 for to make sure he puts it on record? Okay,
Yes.
I'll go for a bit. Okay.
I need to try to get him to be able to record too.
Okay.
And then I'm going to start it at 35.
Okay, and then, okay, there's Carl. Okay, I'm going into 4 for now.
Mhm.
Hi, Julian, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was in breakout group 4, but Alex told me to come back out here because they wanted to see if they needed me somewhere. I was supposed to be originally in the Spanish group, but I don't know.
And I didn't get you in there. Do you want me to move you into, I'll move you into that Spanish group. Sorry. Let me move you. Let me assign you. Let's see if I can do that. You were in group 4. Let's see. There you go.
Thank you.
You should be able to. Did that move you? Perfect.
Jolene? Jolene?
Yes.
Hi. My picture isn't up there, but it says you're inviting me to the group, and for some reason I can't join, but I guess I am joined. It looks like.
No, it's, you should be able to choose. There should be something that pops up that says join group.
Yeah, it does, but I can't,
And it's not allowing you to do that?
well, I can't even think right now. No, it isn't. It's there, but I can't get the mouse to go on join. It won't let me. But can I just, I can talk, so that's all right.
Well, the problem is that there's more going on. So let me see what I can do to get you to that room. I'm going to move you to a different group. Is that okay?
Yes, it's fine.
And let's see if you can jump in from there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
There you go. It should be giving you the option to choose now.
Well, it is, but
Still having the same difficulty?
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah, so is one of our facilitators that was doing that. Let me see what I can do. I'm going to have to search that 1 second.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I see 4 people in my breakout room. Dale, Gia, and Jolene Bradford from VTA. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
No, this isn't a breakout room. This is the main room.
Oh, this
Dale,
is the
you
main.
should have been given a thing that says click.
It showed up on my screen and then it disappeared. I didn't see it.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see if I can get you again. Oh, I need to unmute. I'm trying to find you, Dale. Oh, I'm going to assign you now. Okay. There you go. You should be able to choose, Dale. You should be able to choose something. Yeah.
All I see is I don't see any breakout room at all for me, Carlin here.
You have to choose join. It'll say join.
I don't see a join. I don't see a join button at all on here.
Are you on your phone?
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Do me a favor, scroll, just swipe to the left and see if you see something that says join.
Swipe to the left.
Yeah. So
I'm swiping.
yeah, if you move maybe to the one way or to the right, you might see a button that comes up on join from your phone.
I don't. Breakout.
Gia, you're on your phone, or correct?
No, I'm on a computer.
You're on a computer and it's just not letting you,
Yeah, now I've lost the whole, I can hear you and that's it.
did you turn off your video?
You know, I'm using my daughter's computer, so.
Oh, so do you see the thing, do you see at the bottom of your screen?
Like what? Do I see what?
At the bottom of your screen, there may be something that looks like a microphone, and then there's the video camera.
No, I went
that
over all of them and it didn't say anything like that. I don't know what the heck I did, but I did something.
Okay.
Maybe if I go over here, let's see. No.
So there should be some type of menu bar, whether it's up at the top or at the bottom.
Okay, let me put my glasses back on. I'm not, she has a Mac and I'm not used to that.
Yeah, let me, you know what, I'll hurry and I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to look up how to do that with a Mac.
All right, thank you so much. You're so nice. Can't find it.
Oh, you found it. Do
Okay.
you also see now something that says join?
No. I found the video, but I don't see anything. You see that okay.
Yes, I see your image.
Oh, trying to hide that.
No, that's okay.
I got a bad haircut.
No, it looks good. I just think that I'm trying to figure out how you would push join. Because something should say join.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't have anything here at all. I just have a bunch of stuff here that has nothing to do with the meeting. That's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all right. I'll just look at it on YouTube.
Yeah, well, what we're doing is we're trying to record all of the breakout rooms.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going to splice them all together and it'll be part of that meeting.
Okay, will we get it emailed to us or?
If you want, I can do that. I don't want to ask for your information right now because it's doing that, but it'll be on the Gil, we'll put it on the Branham page.
Oh, okay.
And so it's vta.org/Branham development.
Okay.
And you'll be able to do it from there.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, I'm gonna click this again and.
Okay.
Am I still on there?
Yeah, you're still on.
Okay.
Let me see if I can stop your video for you. I'm going to stop your video for you. Do you want me to?
Yes, please.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you so much.
No problem. can I manually send someone to a breakout room as host?
Jolene?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess Kevin in group 2 needs help sharing his screen. Do you know what I need to have him do?
He should just be able to push screen share.
Okay, I'm on my way. How do I get to 2? Or do you need to put me in 2? I think
I'll
you need
put you in 2.
Okay, thanks. Is that where he is? He's in 2. Yeah, I wrote it down.
And you
2.
were in 4?
I was in 4.
I don't know, Kathleen. Okay, move
Different
to 2,
problems.
you said?
Yeah, send me to 2.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Did you get the invite? Okay. Ben,
Yes.
you were assigned a room and to join. There's less than a minute left. So you can join or you can just hang out here.
Just hang out.
Okay.
I just want to listen.
I'm sorry, what?
I just want to hear what the meeting about.
Yeah, oh, perfect, because you'll hear the report backs. So, and then this is on YouTube, so you can go on to our YouTube channel and you'll be able to see it as well.
The channel?
Yeah.
What channel?
It's the YouTube channel. It's BTA's YouTube channel. So right now it's live, and then when we're done, we're going to compile all the video together and we'll post it.
Okay, so what the YouTube topic? When I log into the YouTube, what I have to do?
Oh, it just shows it's just a recording of the meeting.
Okay. Okay, I'll get out here. Right?
Oh, no, you can.
So I can leave now, right?
You can hang out and people are coming back from the breakout rooms and they're going to report back. So you'll be able to hear what was happening, what the group discussion was in each of the groups.
Mhm. What are we talking about? What the meeting about it?
Hello?
Hello.
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 I think we're all falling back in.
Are we all back?
Yes.
Welcome back.
There's a lot of folks online.
Yeah. We're just waiting for Alex and Alex will screen share again and continue.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, they just all of a sudden just boom, kicked us off. So
Yeah.
Mid-sentence.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So we're going to go to each of our groups and just maybe our facilitators can share two kind of big themes they heard as we talked about amenities and community benefits and housing. So let's go first to let's go to Kevin Ma. Kevin, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So my small group had a lot of questions about what kind of people will be in this, how would it affect the local area, including what kind of road changes will be required to handle the amount of people coming into the area, including parking, road improvements, and the such.
Okay, great. How about Leilani?
Hang on. Kevin missed the point that pretty much everybody in our group were flabbergasted on the fact that this was pretty much a done deal, according to, we should assume that it's a done deal. And then most of our group said, no, we don't want this. How did you miss that, Kevin? We don't want the.
Okay, Frank, I'm going to cut you off. We got
Were we
it.
talking to a different group?
Go ahead.
No, that was also included. So yes. Sure.
Okay. Let's go to our next group. Leilani, would you like to share?
Thank you, Alex. So yes, group 3 had a lot of great concerns and we dove into a lot of great discussions, keeping those concerns centric to some of those questions that were asked. Two main themes that I identified from our group were rooted in safety and the issue in regards to overflow parking. And if anybody in my group would like to correct me, feel free to add anything that I might have left out.
Hi, this is Danielle. I was in Leilani's group. Another main concern that we have is traffic. I mean, Narvez is a one-lane street, one lane each way, and traffic is terrible. And our concern is that with this single lane, with the single opening, or even this development, it's going to increase in the amount of traffic in what's already a bottlenecked area.
Yeah, and I second Danielle. We had the same concerns. Not only Narvez, but also Branham, which is cut down from 3 to 2 lanes and increased traffic. And it goes down to 1 lane heading towards Snell. So, and it's very busy, and there's a lot of accidents and people getting hurt, and actually some deaths, unfortunately. So that needs to be addressed.
Accessibility to 87.
Okay, we can't all give summaries, so there's still 67 of us. If we finish up early, I think VTA staff maybe could stay on a couple minutes and check in with folks if there's any other questions. Let's go to our next breakout room summary. Marisol, would you mind sharing some key themes that you heard?
Yeah, again, lots of comments, but if I need to just pick 2, I'd say the ones that seem to be the biggest of concerns was not just the traffic, but the speed of traffic. There's a lot of fast traffic making pedestrian maneuverability feeling less safe. So safety was another concern. And then another aspect was sustainability of bike paths and landscaping, making sure the operations and sustainability, everything looks great and pretty once well developed and done, but will it still look as nice at that point as it will in 5 years? Using examples of the current state of some of the bike paths as reasons for those concerns.
Okay, thanks, Marisol. How about Steve Pimentel? You want to share about your group?
Yeah, so our group had a lot of the same concerns. Traffic flow is a huge one. Concerns about fire lane access was another big concern in terms of being approved for that. The other thing was safety. Safety as far as using the bike lanes and kind of the general area in terms of development. And if I can have a third, I do want to say we did kind of talk in general about affordable housing, and one of the things that the group was nice enough to share is about really thinking that the priority in terms of that was seniors and first responders in terms of needs within the area. Our group had a lot of people who'd been there 30, 40 years in the area. We had somebody who grew up there and had to move out, would love to live there. So, we did try to get some common ground in the group. But yeah, definitely a lot of concerns. And I think like everyone, traffic is a huge concern in terms of this particular area.
Okay, thanks, Steve. How about Summer? Maybe a summary from Summer?
Yeah, so my group as well had a lot of concerns. Some of the main things we saw were, excuse me, providing enough parking is important so parking doesn't overflow in other neighborhoods. And also there were concerns about traffic and homelessness along the bike lane and some safety regarding that.
Great. Any facilitators that we missed? Any other groups? I think I jumped in one of them. So if it's okay with Lori, I'll give a summary of a couple things I thought we heard in our group. We heard, number one, it sounded like a preference for housing for middle income folks like teachers, nurses, first responders, that if they were going to do the housing, that would be a good population, and a preference for that housing to be for sale. So if it's affordable housing, have it affordable housing for sale as opposed to for rent. And then when we had some good consensus, we heard about 3 or 4 of our group members said that they liked a particular design. I think it was this upper right one, if I'm not mistaken, Lori, that a few of our group members prefer that design for the housing. Any facilitators we didn't hear from? Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you all as we're starting to wrap up. We'll talk about the next steps in the process, but first I want to thank Catalyze SV's volunteer facilitators. Thank you for helping lead those small group discussions and all the prep you did to be able to do that. I want to thank our interpreters in Spanish, Ana and Tina, for providing that access for folks who speak Spanish. And we also want to thank all of you for your time here tonight. Sharing your input. There are going to be more opportunities to keep the conversation going. So let's talk about what those might be. So we're really in the early stages, and if you can believe it, development projects can take multiple years from when they're first talked about, like tonight, to when they actually get built and folks start moving in. That can be a number of years, and there are multiple steps in that process. VTA again is partnering with Santa Clara County's Office of Supportive Housing on this project to try to create an affordable housing project on this site. Tonight was all about getting your sense of what your vision might be for the site. And in addition, we know that, like I said earlier, we've got other steps in that process that are coming up next. Might be that issuing of guidelines or a request for offering. That's what RFO means. That may come to the board in September 21. That's where the board says, yes, we want to put out this proposal to the development community and ask and invite them to present their idea for what a project could look like. So that might come in September 21. Again, that is not the authorization of the project. It is still to be decided which developer that VTA might choose to then put forward their proposal for the site. And that is another stage of community engagement. So you can see by these yellow triangles that more community engagement is coming, which means more conversations with all of you about the future of this site. In the meantime, if you'd like to stay connected with VTA on the development, we certainly welcome that. There is this mailing list that VTA would love to keep in touch with you about the project and the site. So feel free to sign up on VTA's website. You can search projects on the website. VTA's got a great search function, and just put Branham Station and you should be able to get that link if it's too much to type out. We also, if you're willing to take, I don't know, 2 minutes maybe and respond to the survey, we'd love to hear how it went tonight from a community engagement perspective, the conversation. So feel free to take that survey. And Jolene, let's put that, if you could put that in the chat function really quick for people. If you can also put the VTA link to the Branham Station website. And then finally, the community outreach at VTA, or Kathleen, if you're able to do that, that would be great. So that is all the content we wanted to share tonight. VTA, can we stay on the line for a couple minutes and answer questions till 8 o'clock, and then we will close the meeting and sign off? Does that work?
Hi, Alex. Yeah, sure, we can take a few questions. And there's a question, and I'm taking a look at the chat. Patricia asked how many units are proposed at this location. I can hand this off to Jesse, or I can take a stab at it. I believe Jesse in the Q&A mentioned that, you know, this would be within the San Jose general plan, which is mixed use neighborhood. And that allows for up to 30 dwelling units per acre. We did a quick fit test to see how many that might be here if we were looking at townhomes. And I believe the range that we came out with was between 40 to 50 units. So that's kind of in the range of what we're considering at this point.
Okay.
Is it a combination of townhomes and apartments, or just townhomes?
That's a good question. That's partly why we asked you the questions in that facilitated question about housing. There was a question about rental and home ownership. It seems like, you know, at least in my group, in group 5, there was a unanimous home ownership. I'm watching the chat comments. It seems like a lot of groups also felt something similar, home ownership opportunities for teachers and first responders. So we'll really definitely take that into consideration and that input into consideration.
And I saw in the chat function, there was a question about the Capitol site again. I'm just going to put in the chat function VTA's main website on its transit-oriented development program, so you can take a look at the different sites there. And as Jesse O'Malley Solis said earlier, we are going to be talking with the community more about the Capitol site in the months ahead. Again, feel free to stay in touch with community.outreach@vta.org to get information on that. Anything else you want to say on the Capitol site, VTA team?
I think more stay tuned, and we hope that you'll join us for our community engagement at that site as well. There was a question in the chat regarding the number of stories that we might anticipate. It's not determined, but the general plan designation allows for up to 3 stories. So you can anticipate something in that range.
Any other common questions, Jessica, from the chat or from your small group that you want to jump in on?
I mean, I think I heard a lot of questions about parking and how many parking spaces will be here. A lot of concerns about parking spilling over into other neighborhoods. And so, you know, where do we park? And then also so I think that one also, you know, I think we're going to have to look really closely at. We've heard a lot of comments here that at least 2 spaces, make sure you have guest parking. So, you know, we're really listening, I want to say. In terms of replacement parking, there was a question about that. Where do we park after this project is complete? And so I think the idea here is that because we want to make sure that parking doesn't overflow into other neighborhoods, and given that there's so much parking available at Capitol, if the site gets developed, we would ask people who are transit riders to park at the Capitol station. And then at Branham, there wouldn't be any replacement parking at this site. I think we would consider a place for drop off and pickup, especially if people are getting on and off at the Branham light rail station. That's probably something that we should consider here. And I hope that answers that question.
Jess, can you add to that? If you're going to do that, then we do need zoning in parking zoning in our neighborhood. So you can't park between this time and this time unless you're a resident. They do that in all the other cities. So if we're going to have a density problem with parking, then we need zoning as well.
Great, thank you. Anything else from our partners at the County of Santa Clara, from Consuelo or Andrew or Diana, that you want to jump in on with?
Thank you, Alex. Our group had some really great ideas about traffic calming, wider sidewalks. You know, there was a few comments that, you know, there's major concern from folks who have been living in the community for a long time and the impact this might have on property values and additional traffic, everything everybody mentioned. I just wanted to acknowledge that those comments were made in our group. But they did give the opportunity to set aside that concern and be able to offer some really interesting ideas around the viability of bike lanes and what those might look like if we you know, think about improvements that this project can possibly bring to the neighborhood. You know, one of those would be a study to look at the conditions of the trails because they're not particularly in good shape right now. So I think some of the outcomes of that, there was also a comment from one of the participants about the visually I think it was the last slide about design, and they liked option 1 and 2. One was compared to Santa Clara University, I believe, and the second was to Japantown. And then finally, there was this desire for some common open space to develop community. Cool. So I just wanted to share those additional comments from the group. I think it's great to hear that, you know, there are concerns and we acknowledge that, but the ability for us to have a conversation about what are some of the things we would want to see there as this moves forward.
Nice.
I wanted to add real quickly that in group 3, there was a lot of dialogue on need for first-time home buyer units, that there should be teacher housing for city employees and our first responders.
Nice, great. Well, we had a little extra time, so we just wanted to make sure we had some more conversation with y'all. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for providing your ideas and input to VTA and the County of Santa Clara. Again, we want to stay in touch with you on this project and this process. So we really appreciate your time. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful night. Again, we really appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for your time. Take care.